Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to discuss peripheral B cell neoplasms. This we will see in the form of chronic lymphocytic leukemia, known as CLL abbreviation, or small lymphocytic lymphoma, SLL. These terms are used in your book. Previously, these were considered two different diseases, but now with modern immunophenotyping, we know the surface markers, and now we know what cells are involved. On the basis of these cells and the stage of the development of these cells, we categorize these diseases. According to WHO classification, now we consider both these in the same category. Peripheral B cell neoplasm. To label a case as CLL, minimal criteria we can define as persistent absolute lymphocytosis. In your books, this is defined as persistent absolute lymphocytosis. This means in the peripheral blood, lymphocyte count, absolute lymphocyte count, must be more than 5,000 per microliter. For example, TLC may be 15,000 or even 10,000, but if persistently, and today we do CBC, maybe after 1 month, after 2 months, but this is always there. This is persistent lymphocytosis. This must be more than 5,000 per microliter. Out of total lymphocytes must be more than 5,000. Transient lymphocytosis we can see in some viral infections. This should be clear. CLL we will label only when there is persistent absolute lymphocytosis. Incidence, this is the most common type of leukemia in the Western adults, in old age people. In your book, this is written in the USA, maybe 15,000 new cases are reported every year. The median age of diagnosis, this is about 65 years. So this means this is a disease of old people. So CLL is very rare below the age of 40 years. So etiology, this is unknown, maybe no relation with the radiation, chemicals or viruses. There is some evidence that this number of cases are more in first degree relatives, so we can say some genetic factors may be involved. So, main change after this pathogenesis, that is the defects in intracellular apoptotic pathways, these cells are surviving longer. So, apoptosis is reduced. This is the main pathogenetic change. Pathogenesis, CLL or SLL. When the count of lymphocytes in the peripheral blood is more than 5,000, we will label this case as CLL. If this count is below 5,000, we see monoclonal lymphocytes, we label such cases as SLL. So CLL or SLL, this is an indolent, slow-growing tumor in which increased tumor cell survival appears to be more important than tumor cell proliferation per se. So, due to reduced apoptosis, the cells will live for a longer time. This is more important change. CLL, SLL cells, they contain high levels of BCL2. This BCL2, this is a protein that inhibits the apoptosis. CLL, SLL also causes immune dysregulation, particularly of normal B cells. Through unclear mechanisms, the accumulation of CLL, SLL cells, this will suppress the normal B cell function, often resulting in hypogammaglobulinemia. The production of immunoglobulin by the normal B cells, this is reduced, so this results in hypogammaglobulinemia. A fraction of these patients, maybe 10 to 15% according to your book, they can show some other features of autoimmune hemolytic anemia, or maybe in some cases we can see thrombocytopenia. In these patients, the normal B lymphocytes, they start producing some antibodies against the red cell. This will result in autoimmune hemolytic anemia. If they are producing antibodies against the platelets, then this will result in immune-mediated thrombocytopenia. Now, clinical features. This may be an accidental finding. If any patient comes to you with non-specific symptoms, you ask for CBC, and in CBC we get a report of absolute lymphocytosis, and then we can suspect patient may be suffering from CLL. 70 to 80% of the patient may be asymptomatic, may be just living a normal life only through laboratory. This may be only lab diagnosis. In CBC we find lymphocytes, absolute lymphocytosis. If the feature, if there are some clinical problems, some clinical complaints, we can have some complaints of organomegaly, maybe the lymph nodes are increased, so we can observe lymphadenopathy, or if the spleen or liver are involved, we can see hepatosplenomegaly, or maybe any one of the. Otherwise, there may be symptoms due to anemia, maybe palpitation, lethargy, maybe weakness, pallor, all symptoms of anemia. There may be symptoms due to neutropenia. There is hypogammaglobulinemia, so this is reduced immunity, so this results in repeated infections. Normal neutrophil production is suppressed, maybe low, so we can see repeated infections due to neutropenia. We can see some features due to thrombocytopenia. If this is advanced, we can see some changes in the skin, like in the form of petechiae or echinosis, but this is a late feature. Normally, thrombocytopenia is not very severe in most of these patients. Recurrent infection due to hypogammaglobulinemia, normal immunoglobulin production by the normal B cell is reduced, so this will result in hypogammaglobulinemia. Autoimmune hemolytic anemia, we can see in 10 to 15% of the cases, normal B cells will start producing antibodies against normal own red cells, so this will result in autoimmune hemolytic anemia. How we will diagnose this patient? We can narrate this in morphology, investigation, or lab diagnosis. Same thing. We will ask for CBC, as usual for almost every patient. In CBC, TLC may be normal or this may be very high. To label a case as CLL, absolute lymphocyte count must be more than 5,000 per microliter. If this is the case of SLL, small lymphocytic lymphoma, TLC may be normal or even below normal, but we can see monoclonal B lymphocytes. So, lymphoma will be mostly diagnosed by some lymph node biopsy. For CLL, we will see persistent absolute lymphocytosis. I have already stressed. Transient lymphocytosis we can see in many viral conditions, viral infections, but this will finish, this will subside. There is some time, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then when the infection subsides, this will revert to normal. But in CLL patients, this lymphocytosis is always there. So this is persistent absolute lymphocytosis. Other findings in CBC, we can see low hemoglobin due to anemia, maybe after autoimmune hemolytic anemia, or maybe just due to suppression of erythropoiesis. Similarly, we can see neutropenia, normal neutrophil count may be below, or thrombocytopenia. Anemia and thrombocytopenia, these are late features that we will see these findings in advanced disease. In peripheral blood smear, we will see mature lymphocytes, mature looking lymphocytes. These are small in size, just like small lymphocytes, maybe slightly larger or even the size of red cell are slightly larger than them. They have condensed chromatin, scanty cytoplasm. That means most of the cell lymphocyte, most of the cell is occupied by the nucleus, only very little cytoplasm around the nucleus. This is scanty cytoplasm. These lymphocytes are very fragile. When we prepare the smear, many of these will be broken and they will assume any shape, and when we stain the smear, they will appear in different shapes, and we call them smudge cells or broken cells or smear cells. It's the same. So this is typical finding in CLL. Two main findings: persistent absolute lymphocytosis and presence of smudge cells. 10 to 50% of the cases, maybe we can see autoimmune hemolytic anemia. In these patients, we can see spherocytes. Spherocytes are circular, small in size, circular, round red cells. These are fully hemoglobinized. No central area of pallor is there. These are known reticulospherocytes. These are known as spherocytes. So this is typical finding in autoimmune hemolytic anemia, and we can see reticulocytosis. When there is autoimmune hemolytic anemia, the red cell lifespan is reduced. Bone marrow will try to compensate for this, and there is more active erythropoiesis. So this will result in rise in reticulocyte count. So in any hemolytic anemia, we can see reticulocytosis. Of CLL plus autoimmune hemolytic anemia. Now if we aspirate the marrow. In bone marrow aspiration, one is bone marrow aspiration, we aspirate the marrow, prepare a smear like peripheral blood. So in these smears, so bone marrow smear must be containing more than 30% mature lymphocytes. Normally there are main myeloid precursor or nucleated precursors of the triad series. But here more than 30% of the nucleated cells in the bone marrow may be lymphocytes. If we do the bone marrow trephine biopsy, we can see nodular infiltration, interstitial, or even mixed, or even diffuse different types of infiltration may be there, but all of these may be having lymphocytic infiltration in the bone marrow. So normally we don't need lymph node biopsy for diagnosis for CLL. For SLL we have to do this, but there will be lymphocytic infiltration, maybe in the lymph node or if also in the spleen and liver. Now another investigation now we can do, that is immunophenotyping on the basis of the surface markers. We can treat this with some antibodies against some antigens, or now a new instrument is available. Just like we have this hematology analyzer, this can give us so many results within just few 1-2 minutes. Similarly, big instrument, bit expensive. This can give us different types of cells according to the presence of antibodies on their surface, and this can give us these immunological markers. So if we do, this is known as flow cytometry. If we do this flow cytometry, this is immunophenotyping. So with this flow cytometry, we can get these types of cells. They will show CD5 positive, CD19 positive, CD20 positive. CD5 means cluster designation 5. Now these are actually very complicated names. To make this more simple, they have given some numbers. It's very difficult to memorize the actual receptors, what are the receptors present in all these cells. They are a bit complicated. So now they have given these different numbers. So CD5 means cluster designation 5. So on the basis of these immunological markers, we can diagnose different types of cells, and we can diagnose different developmental stages of these cells. So in these cells, we will see CD5, CD19, CD20, as well as CD23, and in a subset of these lymphocytes, we can also have CD5 positive. So other markers like surface immunoglobulin, CD22, CD79, these are relatively weak, but we can detect these. These lymphocytes are kappa or lambda restricted. This means when there is polyclonal proliferation of lymphocytes in response to different antigenic stimuli, normally we have different types of immunoglobulin. There are different clones of lymphocytes, they will produce different types of immunoglobulins. So some of these have kappa light chains, others may be having lambda light chains, but this is a malignant chain, clonal proliferation, so identical lymphocytes are being produced by mitotic divisions. So in these cases, there will be only one type of light chain present in these cells, kappa or lambda, only one, not mixed. So this is kappa or lambda restricted proliferation. Now if we do karyotyping, cytogenetics, we can see different changes, although these are not very much specific like some other tumors, but still they have some prognostic value. 3Q negative, this is considered favorable if isolated. 11Q negative, similarly 17P negative, these are, if these changes are there, these are considered refractory to chemotherapeutic agents. 12Q positive with the neutral. 12 positive also mean atypical morphology and disease progression. Maybe you can see this change in bronze disease. Now clinical features. This may be an accidental finding. If any patient comes to you with non-specific symptoms, you ask for CBC, and in CBC we get a report of absolute lymphocytosis, and then we can suspect patient may be suffering from CLL. 70 to 80% of the patient may be asymptomatic, may be just living a normal life only through laboratory. This may be only lab diagnosis. In CBC we find lymphocytes, absolute lymphocytosis. If the feature, if there are some clinical problems, some clinical complaints, we can have some complaints of organomegaly, maybe the lymph nodes are increased, so we can observe lymphadenopathy, or if the spleen or liver are involved, we can see hepatosplenomegaly, or maybe any one of these. Otherwise, there may be symptoms due to anemia, maybe palpitation, lethargy, maybe weakness, pallor, all symptoms of anemia. There may be symptoms due to neutropenia. There is hypogammaglobulinemia, so this is reduced immunity, so this results in repeated infections. Normal neutrophil production is suppressed, maybe low, so we can see repeated infections due to neutropenia. We can see some features due to thrombocytopenia. If this is advanced, we can see some changes in the skin, like in the form of petechiae or actinosis, but this is a late feature. Normally, thrombocytopenia is not very severe in most of these patients. Recurrent infection due to hypogammaglobulinemia. What complications may occur? So normally this is a very slow growing tumor. Median age after diagnosis may be many years. Even if we don't treat these patients, still they can survive for many years. So some of these patients, they can have some changes. Patient can get a pro-lymphocytic transformation. That means more and more increase in the pro-lymphocytes in the peripheral blood. Or CLL can change to a more aggressive form. This is known as Richter's syndrome. This will resemble like diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. Diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, we will see large lymphoblasts like AL. We will discuss maybe in next lecture these types of lymphoma. So this is any aggressive form of the disease. After this change, if untreated, the patient may die within a year. If CLL This is going on normally maybe many years. If we don't treat, still this patient can have a normal life. Nowadays, maybe in these patients routinely we can give some chemotherapeutic agents just to suppress the proliferation of the lymphocytes, or now more advanced or latest treatment, that is some BTK, some tyrosine kinase inhibitors. Now these are being tried and they are giving good results. They will reduce the prolonged survival of these cells. They will suppress the reduce the apoptosis, so the lifespan of the cells, which is very much increased, that will not be increased. So this will result in a slow progression of the lymphocytes in the peripheral blood, so this can prolong life. Now this is a table from Essential Hematology. If you like, you can memorize this. This may be a bit easier. Prognostic factors in chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Number one is stage. I will explain what is stage. These are two types of grading of CLL patient. One is Binet staging, and another is Rai classification. In Rai classification, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, these stages. In Binet classification, we have A, B, C types. So, Binet A or Rai classification, stage 0 to 1. These are good signs. That means limited disease. Lymphocyte doubling time slow, this is good sign. Rapid, this is bad sign. Bone marrow biopsy appearance nodular, this is good sign. Diffuse infiltration, bad sign. Chromosomes, these changes, deletion 13q14, this is good sign. Deletion 17p, this is bad sign. Genetic mutations, NOSHI, P53, SF3B1, if these are present, this is a bad sign. VH immunoglobulin gene, if these are hypermutated, good sign. Unmutated, this is bad sign. ZAB expression, if this is low, good sign. High, bad sign. CD38 expression, if this is negative, good sign. Positive, bad sign. LDH, if this is normal, this is a good sign. If it is late, that is a bad sign. So these features may be considered in prognosis. This picture we have already seen from your books. You can see these lymphocytes, thin rim of cytoplasm around. These are broken cells or smudge cells, and these are spherocytes. This is nucleated RBC. So this may be a chronic lymphocytic leukemia plus autoimmune hemolytic anemia. In late advanced stage of CLL, 10 to 15% of these patients will start producing antibodies against the red cells or maybe against the platelet. If these are antibodies against the red cells, this results in autoimmune hemolytic anemia. If the B cells, normal B cells in these patients, they are producing antibodies against platelets, this will result in autoimmune or immune-mediated thrombocytopenia of CLL plus autoimmune hemolytic anemia.